You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. A man has pleaded guilty in connection with a bomb plot targeting the Nassau County Department of Social Services building. Prosecutors say James Luca planned to set off an explosive device last September. The 47-year-old is expected to be sentenced to 9 years in prison. The North Merrick man is due back in court next month. And a Georgia woman pleaded guilty to manslaughter for her role in a deadly Massapequa car crash. Authorities say back in 2023, Rachel Lodice was high on marijuana, speeding, and ran multiple red lights before she slammed into another car, killing that driver. Lodice is expected to get 3 to 10 years in prison when she is sentenced. And only in Newsday, new memorial benches have been set up on Ocean Parkway for the victims of the Gilgo beach homicides. The benches are along the bike path, and several family members of the victims thank the town of Babylon for the tribute. In just a moment, we'll get more on this story from Virginia Huey. And only in Newsday, the state attorney general's office is asking a judge to remove an independent health monitor from a Long Island nursing home. The AG says the monitor at Cold Springs Hills Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation should be removed because of failure to be independent. Now, the monitor's job is to improve resident care and maintain enough staff at the financially troubled nursing home. And the DMV is warning New Yorkers about a new scam. Listen to this. People are getting texts claiming to be the Department of Motor Vehicles and threatening action for an unpaid traffic ticket. A spokesman for the agency says it's best to just delete the text and do not reply. All right, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather, shall we? It was a gorgeous day today. Another stunner tomorrow with sun all day long and temps in the mid-70s. We'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast. Only in Newsday, there's a new memorial on Ocean Parkway for Gilgo Beach homicide victims. Virginia Huey tells us more.
Along the scenic stretch of Ocean Parkway where seagrass and wildlife reign, permanent memorials honoring the lives of the Gilgo Beach homicide victims are now part of the seascape. 3 benches bearing the names of the 10 victims sit along the bike path where their remains were found 15 years ago. In 2010, the search for Shannon Gilbert in Oak Beach led to the discovery of 10 other sets of remains near Gilgo Beach, including the first victims known as the Gilgo Four: Maureen Brainard Barnes, Megan Waterman, Melissa Barthélemy, and Amberlynn Costello. At the time, their heartbroken families and friends planted handmade tributes and flowers at the site in remembrance. But the makeshift memorials did not withstand the test of time or the elements, and the sites went unmarked for years until a woman from West Islip stepped up to make a difference.
My heart's always been with the families and the tragedies that they suffered.
Sarah Farrow did not know any of the victims, but that didn't stop her from making frequent visits to the site to pay her respects at the original memorials.
After Hurricane Sandy, they were destroyed. Nothing was put back up. The family started a push to get more permanent memorials in 2020, and COVID hit. So I jumped in 2022, started making phone calls to the local senators, the town, anybody who would listen to try to get a permanent memorial.
The town of Babylon completed the $6,300 memorial project last fall.
We just wanted a small part that we could play is to bring these families peace.
The town of Babylon says a memorial bench will be added later this summer for Shannon Gilbert in Oak Beach, where she was found.
These girls deserve respect and reflection and remembrance and love, and that's what this project was for.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Long Island is a great place to be in summer, with sunny, warm days and some of the best beaches around. But beyond the beauty, there is a major concern: storms.
The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season is officially underway, and it looks like it could be another very active one. With warmer ocean temperatures and climate patterns shifting, Long Islanders have to be ready in case a big storm heads up the coast.
For the sixth consecutive year, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration expects a very busy season. Their forecast calls for 13 to 19 named storms, with 6 to 10 expected to become hurricanes with sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or higher. 3 to 5 are projected to be major Cat 3 or 4 or 5 hurricanes with winds of at least 111 miles per hour.
Weather prediction, modeling, and protecting human lives and property is our top priority. So we are fully staffed at the Hurricane Center, and we definitely are ready to go.
This continues the recent active trend, including the record 2020 season that produced 30 named storms, with 14 hurricanes and major hurricanes. Now that year, 11 storms made landfall in the continental U.S. However, as we've noticed in recent years, the certainties are often determined in the short range as opposed to long-term forecasts. The path, intensity, and movement of a storm is affected by the flow patterns and interactions of other weather fronts and air masses. Look at recent storms like Henri in 2021 and Hermine in 2016. Both triggered some type of major alert, warning, and even voluntary evacuations across Long Island, yet neither ended up causing major damage or issues. But non-hurricanes like Ida, Isaias, Floyd, Agnes, and of course, Sandy were either downgraded storms or remnants, but ended up causing major damage or severe flooding across the tri-state region. And we all recall the devastating floods on the North Shore last August that had nothing to do with any tropical storm, and that caused historic flooding that washed away Harbor Road and ended up emptying Stump Pond. So here we are at Robert Moses, Field 2, with George Gorman, Regional Director of New York State Parks. The hurricane season has begun, George. What are we looking at in terms of this year? Are the beaches, are they in good shape?
We are in good shape.
Storms across the Northeast, the Caribbean, Long Island can always do some weird things. Tracks, they can turn, they can stall, like we saw with storms like Henri and Hermine. But you're always on guard, always ready, no matter what, right?
We have to be. Beaches see the first effects from the hurricane. So we have to always be monitoring, we have to always be watching. We have phenomenal lifeguards they see problems, they react right away. But even the entire beachfront, we have to watch just to make sure we don't see erosion. And if we do, we react to that.
So every year is different. And our best defense is to be prepared, to stay in touch with forecasts and have a plan should the next big storm head our way. For Newsday TV, I'm meteorologist Rich Von Owen.
Hey there, I'm Ken Buffa. It's Pride Month here on Long Island, and there are parades, performances, and other events supporting the LGBTQ+ community from Eastern Suffolk to Western Nassau. Now, joining us to talk about the LGBT network is President and Founder David Kilnick. Thank you so much for being here, David. We appreciate it. But I want to get into this. What is this month all about?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, and happy Pride Month to all. Pride Month is for everyone. And so what Pride Month is about the LGBTQ community being able to be ourselves, celebrate authentically, but it's really the biggest visible presence that our community has here on Long Island.
This year is the 35th annual Long Island Pride Parade, so tell us about it. What's in store?
We're back in Huntington. The parade is going to be huge down Main Street. There's going to be at least 24 more groups marching this year. A big festival in Heckscher Park, live concert. It is free, it's family friendly. We're going to see really Long Island life represented. And that diversity is so important, and that message that we send on June 8th for the rest of the year, the other 364 days of the year, is real important and powerful.
Now, there's also obviously a lot of celebrations, a lot of performers. So we spoke to one of the performers about the upcoming show, and here's what they had to say.
I really feel like it's nice to be able to give back and to show and support and remind people that there's representation for them everywhere you look, in musicians and artists and actors in everyday people and people who are on The Voice like me, and that like nobody is alone. So it means a lot to me to be able to do this.
All right, David, so what are some other Pride events happening across the island throughout the month?
We have the annual LGBT Youth Prom happening on June 14th. It's being held at the LGBT Network Center in Hauppauge. We have Pride Night with the Mets. Hey, let's go Mets. And that's happening on June 13th, the night before that. And North Fork Pride, celebration out on the beautiful North Fork of Long Island. That's happening on Sunday, June 22nd.
Thank you so much for joining us. LGBT Network President and Founder, David Kelmnick, thank you so much. Now we have a guide to Pride events on Long Island. Just go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. All right, let's take a closer look at your 7-day forecast. So, like I said, tomorrow it's going to be a stunner 77 degrees with sun, and the rest of the week looks dry. Saturday we have a bit of rain, but those temps are elevated in the 70s pretty much for the next 7 days.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
You're watching Newsday TV. For more on all the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.